we created a competitive electricity market in Texas. We took the old franchised utilities that had their own footprint. They owned the generation. They owned the retail customers. They owned the lines and poles in that area. That was Texas Electric. That was Houston Power and Light, companies like that. They were a monopoly. And we deregulated them and structurally separated them into three companies. The generation company, which was all free market. Anybody could come and build a power plant in Texas if they wanted to. The lines and poles, which were still regulated, but they're like your highway system. Anybody can put power onto the grid, sell it off the other end. They just pay a toll fee en route, a tariff fee for delivering it. And that's a regulated side. And then there's the retail side. It was very elegant, had tremendous success, was the model for the country until the federal government stepped in not too many years later with these large subsidies for then wind, and now with the Inflation Reduction Act for solar. And, you always get more of what you subsidize and less of what you tax. And so all of a sudden, all the money that was going into building coal plants and even some efforts toward nuclear back then and toward gas-fired plants all shifted over to building wind, and now wind and solar, and really almost entirely solar at this point because of the new subsidies. And that really skewed what was set up as a free competitive market that was very successful. Where that has left us today is in a very vulnerable situation. Where we are at serious risk is in the generation side, because for these last couple decades, very few new gas-fired power plants, something that you can turn on with a switch that's always available. We've got tons of natural gas in Texas. It's so cheap and reliable for us. But very little money had been going into what we call dispatchable electricity, something that's ready to be dispatched at any time. And all the money was going to wind and now solar and some to battery. And that has made us vulnerable, not because there's not a place for wind and solar, but the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine when you need it. And that really was demonstrated to us in Uri when we had 246 people die due to things freezing up and wind and solar not performing as had been promised.